Hello, Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today we start Unit 26, Changing Roles of Media and ICTs in Employment. The term mass media refers to any medium of communication such as newspaper, radio, motion pictures, television, designed to reach the masses and conforming to set standards, ideals, and aims of the masses. The distinctive feature of any mass media undertaking is the dissemination of information and ideas to the public or a portion thereof. The mass media may be said to include the print media of newspaper, magazines, and books, the broadcast media of radio, television, and movies, and the comparatively newer form of media, the internet. However, latest forms of media such as internet have not as yet made their way to a large enough area beyond major towns and cities to have significant mass impact, especially in developing countries. The traditional media has a comparatively larger reach and audience. These media have a good reach and can be used for entertainment or education. Mass media present the opportunity to communicate to large number of people and to target particular groups of people. Mass media communication is significantly different from other forms of communication in that it has the capacity to reach simultaneously many thousands of people who are not related to the sender. Media today has evolved into a multifaceted entity that has become an integral part of our life. Using available technology such as the internet, we can now communicate with one another anywhere on earth instantly. The technological developments of the past few decades, which resulted in the convergence of information and communication technologies, has affected all spheres of human life, especially on the economic front. The present unit will deal with evolution of mass media, its changed dimensions in the globalization era, and its collaboration with latest developments of communication technology or internet. The unit also deals with the impact of convergence of information and communication technologies in the economy and employment front. Now let us move to the topic, the evolution of mass media. If we look into the history of human communication, the development of speech can be viewed as one of the defining characteristics in the transition of human civilization. The use of pictures and writings allowed communications to move beyond the face-to-face requirements of direct speech and facilitated the development of trade and monetary exchange across large distances. The invention of printing in the 15th century and the rapid spread of the art of printing marked the period of profound, even revolutionary change in the medium of communication around the world. Printing technology was designed for reproducing alphabetic systems. The first printed pages appeared more than 500 years ago. Since then, the media has been delivering information, entertainment, educative material, etc. For centuries, civilizations have used print media to spread news and information to the masses. During this period, printing was the dominant information transfer medium, and for much of that time was unchallenged, and so also further development of the technology was slow. Mechanical power was applied to the printing press in the 19th century, and the mechanical systems entirely displaced typesetting by hand. In the 20th century, dramatic development have taken place in mass media. The mechanical system was replaced by the electronic typesetting, and in the contemporary period, the most advanced, the digital typesetting. By the middle of the 19th century, newspaper became the primary means of disseminating and receiving information. The invention of the telegraph in the 1844 transformed print media. The new technology enabled the transformation of information within a matter of minutes, allowing more timely, relevant reporting. During this period, newspapers were appearing in the societies around the world. Broadcast radio exploded onto the media scene in the 1920s. The introduction of technologies of mechanical reproduction such as phonograph, photography, and cinema created new opportunities for disseminating images to wider audiences with increased power and immediacy. The inventions of telephony, radio, and television have been even more significant in compressing time and space in communicating information to larger masses. The invention of recording and the development of telegraphy and wireless gave added significance to oral communications. The invention of telephone was a great advance on telegraph, which allowed direct spoken communications. Wireless broadcasting was a great contributor to the further development of oral communication from one person to another. Different from telephone, which can be used for communication from one person to another, this could be used for communication from one person to many persons, provided that all of the would be recipients of the signal and had appropriate equipment on which to receive it. Wireless broadcasting of both speech and music was established in many parts of the world by the first half of the 20th century, and it was rapidly becoming an integral part of the daily life. This gave a challenge to print in many fronts. The broadcasters could at the same time beat the printed newspapers in the immediacy of their coverage and occupy the leisure time that might otherwise have been devoted to reading books. The term mass media was coined around 1920 with the advent of nationwide radio networks and of mass circulation newspapers and magazines. The mass media audience has been viewed as forming a mass society with special characteristics, notably automation of lack of social connections, which render it especially susceptible to the influence of modern mass media techniques such as advertising and propaganda. The other great popular medium of mass communication during this period was cinema. Film was one of the most potent mechanisms for propaganda in the 1930s and around World War II around the globe. The new media of both broadcasting and cinema began to undermine the primacy of print by the 1930s. Although influential, sound broadcasting and the cinema had their limitations. The former made its impact being instantaneous, the latter did so by its use of powerful visual images, emotive music, and evocation of lifestyle far beyond the reach of the vast majority of its audience. Television, the greatest of mass media, did both. From very tentative beginning in 1936, television became within little more than 30 years the most universal and most powerful medium of communication and information ever invented. It was at once domestic, universal, instantaneous, and ubiquitous. Like radio and cinema, television broadcasting also needed a complex and costly infrastructure, although in real terms the cost began to fall in 1980s as new multilayered and digital technology became widely available. Due to the rapidity and pervasiveness of television as a communication medium, soon after its appearance on the historical sense, it became synonymous with mass media. The technological revolution of today is creating new challenges and opportunities for traditional media. Never before has so much information been so accessible to so many. The amount and immediacy of information in the latest mass media are unparalleled, but it has not signaled the end of the traditional media. Newspapers in print remain a popular and powerful medium for the reporting and analysis of events that shape our lives. Taken together, the mass media of 20th century have enriched and enhanced the lives of the hundreds of millions of people throughout the world. Despite the apprehensions of the moralists and the governments and the complaints of partially displaced cultural elites, mass media like radio, cinema, and the above all television have given more access to more information to more people than at any time in the history. The current process of globalization, which gained an accelerated pace in the 1970s and afterwards, with the rapid changes in the technological and other developments, had its impact on the mass media of communication also. The emergence of internet as a networked communication and other technological advancements provided a new paradigm to mass media. Let us learn more about the impact of globalization on mass media in our next lecture. Thanks for listening.